Hi boys and girls, I hope you had a great weekend. The weather was absolutely beautiful and I'm sure you were outside, and I definitely took advantage of that. I wanted to show you a little bit about outdoors inspired art this week, and there is a special style of art. It's called Impressionism, and when you read about the things that I included in this lesson, you're going to learn about one very important Impressionist painter. His name is Claude Monet. And Monet was alive about 150 years ago. It's a long time ago. And he was one of the first people to ever think to paint nature and to paint outside and to look closely at the grass and the sky and the trees and capture that beauty that he saw of the daylight, or sometimes he would even paint in the snow. So this weekend was a great time to notice how beautiful it was outside, and I'm sure you did. And if you were an Impressionist, you would have painted what you saw, and you would have painted it outside. So for this project, you have two choices. One, you could paint a picture outside. It has to be outside, so you'll have to bring paint with you. I hear we have some good weather this week, so pick a time of day, maybe in the afternoon, maybe early in the morning. You know, if mom or dad want to help you get set up early, you could see the sunrise, or even later in the day when the sun sets, the sky gets beautiful colors. Maybe you have a special place in your yard with some really gorgeous plants or some flowers, maybe even a garden that would inspire you to go sit in that garden and paint what you see. So that's one option. The other option is to kind of reflect on what Claude Monet did, and he painted water lilies as one of his most famous paintings of all time, and it's huge. It goes across a whole wall, and he was inspired by his garden in Giverny, which is in France. And to make a water lily that's inspired by Claude Monet, we're going to need just a couple of ingredients. You need some paper, and you're going to need some coloring materials. So you could paint for this. I think painting would be the best thing because you would be the closest to an impressionist. Impressionists were all about painting. But if you don't have any paint handy, you could absolutely do this with crayons or oil pastels or even markers. So you'll need a plate, some size plate, because we're going to go ahead and trace it to make a circle, and I'll show you that in just a second. And then you're going to need some kind of material, like either tissue paper that you could get maybe from a gift you got in the past or from a shoebox, or you could even use toilet paper. You could use a crumpled piece of colored paper, because a lily pad has a piece called a lotus flower that grows up and out of the lily pad. So we need to make sure we add something like that when we're all done with our lily pad. So if you're choosing this part of the activity, you're definitely going to want to keep watching. If you plan on going outside and painting en plein aire, which is painting outside, then you really don't need to see anything. You just have to go do it and have a great time doing it. So, and if you're going to make the lily pad, you'll need to trace this plate first. So I'm going to just adjust my camera so you can see. All right, there's that down there. All right, and all you need to do is hold your plate steady and go right around to create a nice big circle shape for your lily pad. Now you could draw your own, but this will make it nice, and you could make more than one of these too. Okay, before you cut it out, I want you to go ahead and paint it or color it and add the designs that you want. A lily pad is a plant, it's green, so maybe you want to use some green paint. And Impressionist painters would have noticed that it also had some other colors mixed in. Maybe you would see some reflections of blue on your lily pad, or maybe you'd see some bright flashes of yellow to make more of like a lime green, like these two colors would make. Okay, so you know, I'm going to actually use this plate for my paint palette, and you just go ahead and put a little. You never want to take too much paint, right? A little goes a long way. You can always get more. And I'm not going to add any other colors right now. I'm going to try to stay where the green family is. Blue and yellow make green, so they're totally fine on my palette. And then I think I'll also add, if I can find my white. I think it's all the way in the bottom. I don't know where my white is. That's okay. If you have white, you can add some white to your palette. Otherwise, you don't need it. And I think I'll just go ahead from here. So make sure you have a paintbrush, and you don't need any water. You're not going to be washing your paintbrush right now. So before you cut this out, you go ahead And an Impressionist painter painted with something called brushstrokes. You might have actually done brushstroke painting with me already a few weeks ago, and you learned how a paintbrush can move and it can make different marks. So I think I'll start with some yellow for my lily pad. I'm going to just jump around and leave these little marks of yellow. There's these little peekaboos. I'm going to hold it up so you can see. See all those empty spaces? All these empty spaces right there, those are the peekaboos. We want those right now because we're going to fill it in the way an Impressionist painter would. An Impressionist painter loved to take a dirty paintbrush with multiple colors, and they would just work those two colors in the same part. So a lily pad is green, so I do want this to be green. I don't want it to be yellow, but from jumping my paintbrush in and out of two different colors and filling this in, you're starting to get these little splashes of these bright greens. See, right? Right there, there's this nice bright green happening. And I have this dark green. Still have a lot of bright yellow, so I'm going to keep going, mixing my colors right in the lily pad. And so you just have fun, just be loose and move your paintbrush all over the place until your lily pad is full. And I'm making these dashy brush strokes, but you don't have to do dashy ones. You could do swirly ones. Maybe you want to play around with a lily pad floating on a pond, so you want to do like little wavy marks like this. Okay, so have fun with your brush strokes, and don't forget to just keep doing it until it's full. And you say, hey, wait a second, Mrs. Vining, you haven't used any blue paint yet. Well, maybe I should do that. What do you think? Yeah? I'll go ahead and grab some blue. My lily pad's starting to look nice and green. I'm going to work some of my yellow spots until I fill it in. And you just remember, this isn't perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to have fun. But look at all those beautiful brush strokes. The Impressionist painters worked quickly. They didn't take a lot of time to make it perfect. They tried really hard to be fast because they noticed that the light would change and then the color of everything around them would change. Imagine looking at a lily pad when it's almost dark out. Do you think it would be the same color as a lily pad in the morning with a bright golden sunshine shining upon it? So they had to work quickly, very, very fast. And a lot of Impressionist painters' paintings, you'll see they're kind of blurry and fuzzy, and there's a lot of little messy marks just like this. So my lily pad is almost done. You could also get creative with your lily pad and change the shape of it a little bit. You know, Mother Nature's a funny thing, right? Not every plant is perfect, like a circular plate. Maybe yours has a little notch in it or has a little bit more of a heart shape to it. And I added that blue. Did you notice? Did you see? And my paintbrush moved around the whole time. So there's my bright green reflective lily pad. Now if I had some white, I might even put a couple dashes of white in here to show some reflection on my lily pad. And there you have it. When that's dry, you're going to go ahead and cut it out. So use a pair of scissors and cut it out. And the last thing you're going to add is a bright, beautiful flower to your lily pad. I think I'm going to use orange for mine. Just rip a little piece of paper. There it is. Crumple. Crumpling is so fun. It's so fun. Squeeze it really good with your fingers, just like that. And you have yourself a beautiful lily pad flower. And you can glue it right on to your lily pad anywhere you want. Maybe you'll put it right there. Maybe you'll have a little frog coming up on your lily pad. Oh, don't forget, a little dot is a lot. And you can glue your lily pad right onto your lily pad lotus flower, right onto your lily pad, just like that. And there you are. Now, you know, you're the artist, so you can decide, do you want to change it up a bit? Do you want to do something a little bit differently? Maybe you want to paint around this and paint it in the same way in those Impressionist brush strokes and make a beautiful water to go around it. It's up to you. And I hope you have a lot of fun exploring this. Bye.